Chosen one. In this moment, I invite you to turn your gaze inward and truly reflect. Beneath the weight of your struggles, beneath the noise of your thoughts, and the pressure of life's challenges, there exists a deep, inexplicable calmness that you've likely felt. It's a stillness that doesn't seem to make sense in the midst of your circumstances. It's not an emotion you can explain or fully comprehend, but it's there, lingering beneath the surface, steady and unwavering. Even when everything around you seems chaotic, when doors slam shut, when relationships fall apart, and when the world seems to be pushing against you, this calmness remains. You felt it, even when your mind screamed for panic, even when your soul longed for answers. This calmness isn't a coincidence. It's a divine presence, an invisible shield placed around you to protect your spirit from the overwhelming forces at work. Right now, you may not understand it, but I'm here to tell you that this stillness you feel, this unexpected peace, is not a sign of weakness or defeat. It's not the numbness of depression or the resignation of abandonment. It's a sign of divine protection. For so long, you've experienced setbacks. Doors have been closed before you. Opportunities that once seemed promising have vanished, and the people you thought you could rely on have suddenly disappeared from your life. The weight of rejection has felt unbearable, the sting of isolation sharp. You found yourself in moments of intense loneliness, wondering where God is, questioning why He would allow such things to happen to you. You've likely felt as though the universe itself was conspiring to break you, to push you to the edge. And in those moments, you might have believed the lie that you were abandoned, that God had forgotten you, that your destiny was slipping further and further from your grasp. The enemy has worked relentlessly to make you feel alone, to make you doubt your purpose, to cloud your mind with the fear that you are not chosen after all. But I want you to hear this clearly. Those feelings, though real, are not the truth. What you've been experiencing is not abandonment. It is divine protection. Your isolation, the doors that have been closed, the people who've left, these are not punishments. They are part of a much greater plan, one that is carefully unfolding in your life, even when you cannot see it. God is not punishing you. He is protecting you. The very isolation you feel is not a sign that you have been left behind. It's a shield that He has placed around you. You've been hidden for a reason, chosen one, and the calmness you feel is a divine cloaking mechanism that has been activated to keep you safe. You've likely wondered why everything seems to be falling apart at the moment, why the things you've worked for are slipping away. But God has allowed this, not to hurt you, but to shield you from what you cannot see. There are spiritual forces at work that would seek to derail your destiny. Forces that would exploit every weakness, every vulnerable connection, every crack in your foundation. And God, in His infinite wisdom and love, has shielded you from these forces. You are not being abandoned or forgotten. You are being protected and prepared for the next step in your divine journey. This isolation is a sign that God is moving you into a place where He can work in you without distraction, without interference. He is hiding you, not because you are weak, but because you are a treasure of immeasurable value. And He is guarding you until the time is right for your emergence. So, as you navigate this season of your life, chosen one, know that this quiet stillness, this peace beneath your struggles, is not a sign of defeat. It's the very evidence of God's protective hand over you. You may not understand it now, but trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The doors that have been closed, the relationships that have shifted, the isolation you feel, it is all part of a larger plan. And in the midst of it all, you are safe. You are hidden for a divine purpose. You are not alone. and you are not abandoned. You are being prepared for something greater than you could ever imagine. Trust in this process and hold on to the peace that surpasses all understanding, because it is the peace of divine protection. In the journey of life, chosen one, you have undoubtedly found yourself in moments of inexplicable isolation. There have been times when the weight of solitude felt suffocating, when the doors to opportunity slammed shut one after another, and when it seemed as though everything you touched turned to dust. It is easy in these moments to feel lost, abandoned, or even punished. But in reality, what you have been experiencing is far from punishment. It is a spiritual quarantine, a time of hidden protection and divine preservation, orchestrated by God Himself. Much like a warrior who must retreat from battle to heal and regain strength, you have been placed in this sacred space to be protected from forces that would otherwise seek to destroy your destiny. This isolation, though it feels uncomfortable, is not a curse. It is a divine strategy, a protective shield surrounding you while God prepares you for the next phase of your life. Think of it this way. You are in a spiritual quarantine, not of your own making, but by divine design. When we talk about a quarantine, the image that often comes to mind is that of a safe, isolated place, one that keeps harmful elements away so that healing and growth can take place. In this case, the quarantine is not about physical illness, but rather about the protection of your soul and spirit. During times of intense spiritual warfare, God has often placed His chosen ones in periods of hiddenness, where they are shielded from external dangers and internal distractions. It is not a place of abandonment, but one of preparation. Think of the wilderness experiences of figures like Moses, David, or even Jesus Himself. Each of them underwent periods of isolation and hiddenness, where God worked in them deeply before allowing them to step into their divine purpose. In the same way, your time of seclusion is a preparation for something greater, something that you are not yet able to fully comprehend. This quarantine is a space where your spirit is being fortified, where your mind is being recalibrated, and where you are being refined for the monumental assignment that lies ahead. Now, let us dive deeper into the analogy of a sniper. In warfare, a sniper is a master of patience, waiting for the right moment to strike with precision. They are skilled at staying hidden, waiting until the perfect target comes into view. But imagine, for a moment, that you are that target. Not in a physical sense, but in the spiritual realm. The enemy has taken aim at your life, your destiny, your purpose. He has carefully watched you from the shadows, tracking your every move, seeking the perfect moment to strike. But just as a sniper prepares to take the shot, something miraculous happens. Heaven intervenes. God, in His infinite wisdom and love for you, sees the danger and takes immediate action. In an instant, the enemy's weapon is nullified, and your destiny is shielded from harm. You are hidden in plain sight, protected from forces you cannot see, and the sniper's aim is rendered useless. This is what has been happening during your time of isolation, chosen one. The dangers you face are not always visible to the naked eye, but God is ever watchful, intervening in ways that you cannot even begin to comprehend. The spiritual sniper, the forces that would seek to derail you, have been thwarted at every turn. And in this hidden space, God is keeping you safe, allowing you to rest and heal while He fights on your behalf. This spiritual cloaking that surrounds you is not something that can be easily seen or understood by the natural eye. It is an invisible barrier that shields you from the attacks of the enemy, keeping you hidden from harm. Just as an invisibility cloak renders something undetectable, God has placed a divine cloak of protection around you. You are not visible to the forces that would seek to harm you. The enemy may be scanning the world for signs of weakness, searching for someone to target. But when he looks in your direction, all he sees is nothing. He cannot touch you. He cannot harm you, because God's protection is upon you. The very essence of this spiritual cloaking is not just about hiding you. It's about making you untouchable. This divine shield ensures that your spirit remains unharmed, that your calling is preserved, and that nothing can derail the plan that God has set before you. In the Bible, we see numerous instances where God uses invisible forces to protect his people. Psalm 91:4 says, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge." This imagery of being covered under God's wings speaks of a deep, intimate protection. It is not a passive shield, but one that actively guards you from harm. You are not merely hidden, but you are guarded, wrapped in the comfort and security of God's presence. Even when the enemy attempts to strike, the divine shield around you prevents any real damage from being done. The attacks may come in many forms: emotional, spiritual, mental, but they will not break you. The more the enemy tries to find an opening, the more he will realize that he is wasting his efforts. God's protection is impenetrable, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. But this divine protection isn't just about keeping you safe from the enemy's attacks. It is also about preparation. Just as a shield protects a warrior in battle, it also gives them the time and space to regroup, strategize, and strengthen their resolve. In the spiritual quarantine, God is not simply keeping you hidden. He is preparing you for what lies ahead. You may feel as though you are in a holding pattern, waiting for something to shift or change. But God is doing an incredible work in you. He is refining your character, building your faith, and strengthening your trust in Him. It is in the isolation that you are able to hear His voice more clearly, to align your spirit with His will, and to prepare for the divine mission that awaits you. Your spiritual quarantine is not a time of stagnation. It is a time of spiritual growth and renewal. The deeper you go into this process, the stronger you will emerge on the other side. As you continue in this period of divine protection, chosen one, know that you are not abandoned. You are being hidden, not because you are weak, but because you are precious to God. He is protecting you from harm, from forces that would seek to destroy your purpose, and from distractions that would pull you away from your destiny. This is not a punishment, nor is it a sign that you are unworthy. It is a divine strategy, a time of preparation and growth where God is fortifying you for the journey ahead. Trust that in this time of isolation, you are not alone. God is with you, watching over you, and preparing you for the incredible work He has planned for your life. Hold on to the peace that comes with this protection, for it is the calm before the storm, the quiet before the victory. You are being shielded, you are being prepared, and soon you will emerge stronger than ever before. As you continue through this period of spiritual quarantine, it's essential to grasp just how intentional and deliberate God's protection over you truly is. In moments when the weight of isolation seems unbearable, when the silence feels louder than any external noise, remember that this time is a divinely orchestrated space, where you are shielded from the enemy's attacks and equipped for the greatness ahead. It's not merely a pause, it's a season of hidden preparation. The spiritual quarantine you find yourself in is akin to a cocoon, where a butterfly is transformed before it can emerge into the fullness of its purpose. You are being protected, refined, and strengthened in ways that may not be immediately apparent, but they are happening nonetheless. God is not withholding from you. He is guarding you fiercely, like a treasure that needs to be protected until the right time for its revelation. Just as a treasure is hidden for safekeeping, you too are being shielded so that you can flourish without interference, free from the dangers that could derail you before your time. During this time, it may seem as though the world around you is moving on while you remain in a state of stillness. People may move forward with their lives. Opportunities may appear to be slipping away, and your own plans may feel like they are on hold. But understand this: the seeming standstill is not a sign of failure or delay. It is an opportunity for your spirit to be recalibrated, for your internal frequency to be aligned with God's divine purpose. The silence you feel is not the absence of progress, but the space where deep work is being done within you. God is using this time to align your heart, your mind, and your spirit with His perfect plan for you. Like a sword in a blacksmith's forge, you are being tempered through the fire of isolation, becoming sharper and more refined. What you may perceive as stagnation is, in fact, a time of preparation for the powerful breakthrough that is just ahead. God's protection over you during this time is also about preserving your energy, your focus, and your clarity. The world is filled with distractions, people, situations, opportunities that can pull you away from your purpose. The enemy knows this well and uses these distractions to divert your attention from what truly matters. During this quarantine, God has created a protective space where these distractions cannot reach you. It is in this cocoon of spiritual isolation that your purpose is being incubated, free from the noise and the chaos of the world. You may not be able to see the fruit of this time yet, but know that God is working behind the scenes, weaving together the details of your destiny. The connections, the opportunities, and the open doors that will eventually come into your life are being carefully prepared in this season. God is making sure that when you emerge from this spiritual quarantine, you will be equipped to handle what lies ahead. Furthermore, in this spiritual cloaking, God is keeping you from harmful influences, both seen and unseen. The enemy often works through people, situations, and environments that seem harmless on the surface, but are actually spiritual traps designed to derail you from your mission. When God pulls you into a time of isolation, He is guarding you against these traps, hiding you from forces that would try to confuse, manipulate, or distract you from your divine assignment. Just as a sniper waits patiently for the right target to come into view, the enemy seeks to find weaknesses in your life to exploit. But God, in His perfect wisdom, has placed a cloak around you, rendering you invisible to these spiritual forces. The enemy may think they know your location, but when they attempt to strike, they find that they cannot touch you. You are hidden in plain sight, protected by divine forces that the enemy cannot see or understand. This is the protection that God has given you, a shield that cannot be penetrated, a cloak that hides you from the destructive forces of darkness. As you remain in this spiritual quarantine, trust that God is not only shielding you from the enemy's attacks, but also fortifying your spirit for what is to come. The battle you are being prepared for requires strength, wisdom, and discernment. And these qualities are being cultivated in this hidden season. You are being trained, though you may not yet see the evidence of it. Like a soldier in training, you are being equipped with everything you need to face the challenges ahead. And just as a soldier needs rest between battles to regain their strength, you too need this time of spiritual rest and preparation. It is in the quiet moments, the moments of solitude, that God does His deepest work in your heart. He is teaching you how to lean fully into Him, how to trust Him even when everything around you seems uncertain. In this time, you are learning to hear His voice more clearly, to follow His guidance without hesitation. This is the refining work that prepares you for the battle ahead, for the purpose you were born to fulfill. As you remain still, remember that God's protection over you is not passive. He is actively shielding you, keeping you from harm and danger, while also preparing you for the moment when He lifts the quarantine and sends you forth into the fullness of your destiny. Just as a shepherd guards his flock, God is protecting you from harm, keeping you safe from the forces that would seek to destroy you. You are not hidden out of shame or punishment, but out of love and divine strategy. God is holding you close, wrapping you in His protection until the time is right for your emergence. It's important to understand that this season of quarantine will not last forever. The divine protection you are experiencing is temporary, but it is necessary. It is a time of incubation, a time where you are being prepared for the massive shift that is coming in your life. There will come a day when the shield of protection will be lifted, and you will step into your purpose with power and authority. But for now, rest in the assurance that you are being guarded, that your spirit is being prepared, and that God's plan for your life is unfolding exactly as it should. The wait is not in vain. It is the divine setup for what is to come. Trust that God is using this time wisely, and when the time comes, you will emerge stronger, more equipped, and more prepared to walk in the fullness of your calling. As you continue through this sacred season, chosen one, it's essential to remember that what feels like an endless isolation is, in fact, a divine strategy. This quarantine is not merely a pause or a waiting period. It is a time of divine reformation, shaping and equipping you for the monumental things ahead. This time of spiritual protection is more significant than you realize. Every moment spent in solitude is a moment of preparation. Every second that feels stagnant is building the foundation for the great work that is yet to come. In this time, God is protecting your spirit from the influence of worldly distractions, negative energies, and forces that would pull you away from His will. The enemy may be watching, tracking your every move, but they do not have access to you in this season. You are hidden for a reason, and that reason is to preserve the greatness inside you, to protect the calling God has placed upon your life. When you are placed in this spiritual quarantine, you may feel as though the world is moving on without you. People around you may be thriving, finding success, and achieving their goals, while you remain in a state of waiting. It can be easy to look at others and feel discouraged, to wonder why things are moving so slowly in your own life. But understand this: God is not moving you slowly because He is indifferent to your desires. He is preparing you for a purpose that is far greater than the temporary success others may be experiencing. The world may look at your isolation and mistake it for stagnation, but in truth, it is a time of divine preparation and fortification. You are being aligned with a higher purpose, being equipped with the strength, wisdom, and insight needed for the assignment ahead. The work God is doing in your life during this season is invisible, but it is deeply transformative. The isolation, the quiet, the stillness. These are the moments when the foundation is being laid, when God is strengthening you in ways that others cannot see. Think about it. Every spiritual champion, every leader who has changed the world has had a season of preparation, a time of hiddenness where they were out of sight, out of reach of the world's expectations. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before he was called to lead the Israelites. David spent years in the fields as a shepherd before being anointed king. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the wilderness, fasting and preparing for his ministry. These moments of solitude, though they appeared as times of isolation, were actually times of divine empowerment. They were the moments when their character was tested, their resolve was solidified, and their spirits were aligned with God's will. And in the same way, your current season of seclusion is not a punishment, but a preparation for something greater. The protection you are experiencing in this season is much like the unseen forces at work in the natural world. When a mother bird shields her young under her wings, the birds may not understand why they are being kept hidden. They cannot see the predators circling overhead, the dangers that lie just outside their shelter. But the mother bird, in her wisdom, knows the right time to release them into the world. Similarly, God is shielding you now, keeping you hidden from spiritual forces that would seek to destroy you. The enemy may try to bring chaos into your life, to plant seeds of doubt and fear. But as long as you remain in God's protective cloak, these forces will not touch you. The enemy may try to provoke you, to make you react in panic or fear. But God's hand is over you, keeping you safe, keeping you focused on Him. It's also essential to understand that the protection God is providing during this time goes beyond just safeguarding you from external attacks. It's about protecting you from your own fears, doubts, and anxieties. You may feel as though you are lost, disconnected from the world, and even from your own sense of purpose. But God is using this season to recalibrate your inner being, to clear the static of confusion and doubt, and to restore clarity and vision. The stillness you are experiencing is not an absence of God's presence. It is a place where you can hear His voice more clearly. The distractions of the world, the pressures to conform, the temptations to take shortcuts, all of these are being removed in this time of quarantine. It's in the silence, in the stillness, that God can speak directly to your heart, guiding you, encouraging you, and preparing you for the path ahead. This protection is as much about healing and restoring your inner peace as it is about keeping you safe from external threats. Moreover, God's divine protection is strategic. He does not only protect you for the sake of your own well-being. He protects you because there is something specific that He is preparing you to accomplish. The enemy is relentless in trying to sabotage your destiny. But God has placed you in this spiritual quarantine to make sure that nothing stands in the way of your divine assignment. There are things God is doing in you right now that you cannot yet see, but they are necessary for the fulfillment of His purpose for your life. Just as a seed must remain buried in the soil, hidden from sight, before it can sprout and grow, so too must you remain hidden in this season. The very isolation that feels like a burden is, in fact, the place where your true strength is being nurtured, where your faith is being sharpened, and where your spirit is being refined for the work ahead. As you stay in this protected space, remember that you are not alone. God is watching over you every step of the way, and He is intimately involved in your life, guiding you even when you don't fully understand the process. Just as a soldier trusts in their commander, knowing that they are being led with wisdom and purpose, so too can you trust that God is leading you through this season. The enemy may try to make you feel isolated, as though you are cut off from the world and from God's plan. But nothing could be further from the truth. You are being held in the palm of God's hand, protected from harm and prepared for the victory that is ahead. The isolation you feel is temporary, but the strength, wisdom, and anointing that you will emerge with will last for a lifetime. Trust in this process, chosen one, and know that God's protection is both a shield and a preparation. The enemy cannot touch you in this season, and when the time is right, he will release you into the fullness of your purpose, ready to make an impact like never before. The shield will be lifted at the appointed time, and you will step into your divine calling with greater clarity, greater strength, and greater authority than ever before. Hold fast to the peace that comes with knowing you are under the protection of the Almighty, and let this season of hiddenness become the foundation upon which you build your legacy. When God says it's time to emerge, no power in hell will be able to stop you. As you continue your journey, chosen one, it's crucial to understand the deeper purpose behind the isolation you've experienced and the relationships that have been severed. In the natural world, it can be difficult to see any benefit in being isolated or rejected. These experiences often feel like a blow to the soul, like a confirmation of unworthiness or failure. The sting of rejection is real, and it cuts deep. However, in the spiritual realm, what you are experiencing is not a punishment or a sign of your inadequacy, but a profound divine protection strategy. The relationships that have been cut off, the doors that have been slammed in your face, and the opportunities that have seemingly disappeared, they are all part of God's plan to protect you. God has allowed these separations not because you are unworthy, but because He is keeping you safe from what you cannot see. Every time a door closes or a relationship ends, it is not a setback, but a strategic move in God's divine protection plan for your life. In the process of walking in your divine purpose, you will encounter situations where certain relationships, even those you thought were essential, must be severed. It may feel as though you are losing something important, something that you deeply value. But in the grand scheme of God's purpose for your life, these connections were holding you back. Some people in your life, whether through their words, actions, or energy, were unknowingly acting as conduits for negative spiritual forces. These forces, though not always visible to the naked eye, seek to derail your destiny. They are designed to distract, confuse, and hinder your progress. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that in order for you to fully step into your calling, you must be shielded from these distractions. This is why, in moments when you least expect it, relationships that seem essential are taken away. These aren't just random separations, they are divine interventions. God has removed these connections to protect you from the enemy's influence, to ensure that nothing, no person, no relationship, no opportunity, can stand in the way of your divine purpose. It is important to remember that not every separation is a reflection of failure. In fact, it is quite the opposite. God, in His love for you, is intentionally cutting ties with individuals who would have kept you stuck in a place of mediocrity or stagnation. These relationships, though once meaningful, were operating at a lower frequency, pulling you away from the high calling God has placed on your life. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that when someone walks away or when an opportunity is lost, you have somehow failed. But this is a lie from the enemy. The truth is that God, in His wisdom, is setting you apart. He is elevating you. He is creating space in your life for new, more aligned connections. Relationships that will empower you, encourage you, and help you move forward in the divine plan He has for you. Every person who has left your life, every opportunity that has slipped away, is making room for something greater that God has in store for you. You are being separated, not because you are less, but because you are being prepared for a greater purpose. This time of isolation is a blessing in disguise, a necessary process of pruning that allows you to grow and bear much fruit. But there's more to this process than just cutting off relationships. The enemy is always looking for ways to distract you, to pull you away from your divine assignment. They will use whatever means possible: relationships, opportunities, even your own desires, to create openings for spiritual interference. The enemy knows that if they can keep you entangled in relationships that drain your energy or keep you locked in cycles of dependency, they can prevent you from walking fully in your calling. This is why God, in His love for you, has to sever these ties. He knows that as long as certain connections remain intact, the enemy will continue to use them to pull you off course. God's purpose is to protect your mind, your heart, and your spirit from these negative spiritual forces that would seek to confuse or sabotage you. By removing certain people and circumstances from your life, He is making it clear that you are to walk in the fullness of His calling, without being distracted by anything or anyone that does not align with His will for you. The isolation you are experiencing is a form of spiritual protection that ensures you stay focused and undistracted, allowing you to grow stronger in your faith and your purpose. The feeling of rejection, however, can still be a difficult emotion to process. When you are cut off from relationships, it's easy to feel as though you are being punished, as though there is something wrong with you. But in reality, rejection is often a sign that you are moving in the right direction. The more you step into your divine calling, the more you will encounter resistance from the forces of darkness. They will try to make you doubt your worth, your purpose, and your ability to achieve what God has destined for you. They will use rejection to make you feel as though you are unworthy, that your dreams are impossible, and that your purpose is unattainable. But these feelings are rooted in fear and lies. Rejection is not a reflection of your value. It is a confirmation that you are on the path to greatness. The enemy only works to reject and diminish those who carry great potential. If you weren't destined for something significant, they wouldn't bother with you at all. The very rejection you feel is the enemy's attempt to discourage you and derail you from your mission. But God is using this rejection as a tool to further prepare you for the greatness that is ahead. Every door that is closed, every person that walks away, is pushing you closer to the place where your true purpose will be revealed. The divine purpose behind these experiences of isolation and rejection is not only to protect you, but to strengthen you. You are being refined in this season, just as gold is refined in the fire. God is working in you, purging out the impurities, and preparing you for the assignment that lies ahead. The rejection, the isolation, and the closed doors are all part of the process of building the resilience, faith, and strength you need to walk boldly into your destiny. In this season, you are being made stronger, more focused, and more determined. God is fortifying your spirit so that when the right relationships come into your life, when the right opportunities present themselves, you will be ready to step into them with confidence and authority. This time of isolation is not wasted. It is a time of strengthening, a time of spiritual growth, and a time of preparation for the powerful impact you will have in the world. So, chosen one, as you navigate through this time of isolation and rejection, trust that it is all part of God's perfect plan for you. He is protecting you from distractions, refining you for greatness, and preparing you for the incredible work that lies ahead. Every rejection, every closed door, and every moment of loneliness is part of a larger divine strategy to protect you and propel you into the fullness of your calling. You are not alone. You are not rejected. You are being shielded, prepared, and strengthened for the mission that only you can fulfill. Keep your heart open, stay focused on God, and trust that He is working in you, even in the most difficult seasons. The best is yet to come, and you are being perfectly positioned for it. As you continue to navigate this season of isolation and perceived rejection, chosen one, it's important to deepen your understanding of the divine nature of these experiences. The truth is that rejection is not always a reflection of your value or your worth. Instead, it is often a sign that you are being called to a higher place. A place where the noise of the world can no longer drown out the whisper of God's voice. God, in His infinite wisdom, has created this moment of separation as a powerful tool for your spiritual growth. During this time, He is shielding you from external influences that would keep you from aligning fully with His will. It is essential to remember that the God who created the universe is not subject to human standards or timelines. His ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. What may appear as rejection in the natural realm is actually God's way of protecting your heart, your purpose, and your destiny. The relationships that have been severed, the people who have walked away, and the opportunities that have dried up were not removed out of malice or a lack of love. Instead, they were part of a divine filtering process, where God is clearing the path ahead for you. It's easy to feel disheartened when those you trusted and loved are no longer a part of your life. You may wonder why things have turned out this way, questioning whether you did something wrong. But in this moment of spiritual reflection, allow your heart to be open to the truth that these separations are divine interventions. God, in His love and foresight, knew that if these relationships continued, they would create openings for negative spiritual forces to influence your destiny. The enemy often works through people and circumstances to derail your mission, to keep you distracted, or to make you feel unworthy of the blessings God has for you. But by removing these connections, God is creating space for healthier, more aligned relationships, those that will encourage, empower, and strengthen you as you move forward. One of the hardest aspects of this divine protection is understanding the deeper purpose behind these separations. God doesn't remove people or opportunities from your life because you are unworthy or undeserving. He does so because He knows the stakes of your divine calling. The enemy is always on the lookout for ways to interfere with your mission, and he often uses relationships and external circumstances as his primary tools of distraction. These forces, though not always visible, are actively working to weaken your resolve, distort your vision, and confuse your understanding of your purpose. By placing you in this spiritual quarantine, God is protecting you from these influences. It's not that you are unworthy of love, success, or happiness. It's that God knows the divine purpose He has placed within you is too precious to be diluted or compromised by relationships that are not aligned with His plan for you. It's not a rejection of you. It's a divine protection of your calling, your future, and your purpose. As difficult as this may be to grasp, the pain of rejection is often a spiritual tool for your growth. Rejection, in the natural sense, can feel like a personal wound. It can make you question your value, your worth, and your place in the world. But when you view it through the lens of divine purpose, you can begin to see it as a necessary process of pruning. Just as a gardener must remove dead branches to allow the healthy ones to grow, so too does God prune the areas of your life that are no longer serving His purpose for you. The rejection you feel is not a reflection of your failure, but of God's loving intervention to keep you on course. The relationships and opportunities that were removed were not meant to be part of your future, and by letting them go, you are making space for the divine connections that will propel you forward into your destiny. It is through this divine separation that God is making sure that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings can flow into your life without interference. In many ways, this period of isolation is a time of deep spiritual growth. It's in the silence that you begin to hear God's voice more clearly. When the world quiets around you, You can hear the whisper of His guidance, the nudges of His Holy Spirit, and the truth of His promises for your life. God has allowed you this time of seclusion not as punishment, but as an opportunity to align your heart more closely with His will. The people who have walked away were not just leaving your life, they were also leaving behind the burdens of expectations, distractions, and fears that were not yours to carry. In their absence, you were given the opportunity to grow stronger, to deepen your relationship with God, and to move forward with more clarity and focus. It is in this stillness that God is preparing you for the next chapter, where you will step into the fullness of your purpose, equipped with new wisdom, new understanding, and a renewed sense of direction. As you continue through this time, remember that isolation is not the same as loneliness. While the world may perceive your time apart as a form of isolation, the truth is that God is using this time to strengthen you, to build you up, and to prepare you for something far greater than you can imagine. You are not alone. God is with you, strengthening you, and guiding you every step of the way. His presence is constant, His protection unwavering. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a gift, an opportunity for you to grow closer to God, to deepen your faith, and to become the person He has always intended for you to be. The rejection you feel is not about your inadequacies. It is about God positioning you for greater things. You are being prepared for the divine assignments that await you. And this season of separation is a key part of the process. In the same way that a caterpillar must retreat into its cocoon to be transformed into a butterfly, so too must you go through this time of hiddenness to be transformed into the person God has destined for you to be. You may not fully understand the process now, but trust that it is part of a much larger plan. God is using this time to refine you, to equip you, and to prepare you for the powerful impact you are meant to have in this world. Every moment of isolation, every moment of rejection is a step closer to your divine purpose. You are being shaped, molded, and prepared to carry out the calling that God has placed upon your life. When the time is right, He will release you from this season, and you will step into your destiny with a strength, wisdom, and clarity that you never knew you had. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking forward in faith. God's protection is with you, and the best is yet to come. As you continue to move through this season of isolation, chosen one, it's essential to understand the spiritual dynamics that are at play in your life right now. You are not simply experiencing separation from the world and its distractions, nor is this isolation a random occurrence. This is not merely a time out for rest or reflection, although those things certainly come into play. No, this period of seclusion is part of a divine strategy, one that is being actively shaped by God to protect you from forces that are trying to harm you and derail your divine purpose. What you may not see is that the enemy is always looking for threats, always scanning the world for individuals who carry great potential, who have the power to disrupt the enemy's territory. The more significant your calling, the greater the resistance. This spiritual opposition is not a reflection of your worth or your capabilities, but a clear indication that you are on the right track. You see, the enemy does not waste time targeting individuals who are insignificant, those whose lives will not affect the spiritual realm in a meaningful way. Instead, he aims his efforts at those who have the potential to carry out great things for the kingdom of God. Your isolation, then, is not an accident or a punishment. It is a direct result of the enemy recognizing the power you carry and attempting to neutralize that power before it fully emerges. The enemy knows that the more you align with your divine calling, the more of a threat you become to his kingdom. You are being targeted because you possess something invaluable: the potential to bring transformation, healing, and breakthrough not just to your own life, but to the lives of others. When you walk fully in your purpose, you are a powerful weapon against the forces of darkness, and the enemy knows this. That's why he will often use various tactics to distract you, confuse you, and weaken your resolve. But here's the thing: he can't directly touch your destiny. He can't destroy what God has already ordained for you. So instead, he will attempt to discourage you, to make you feel as though you are unworthy, unqualified, or even abandoned by God. He will whisper lies to make you question the authenticity of your calling and to make you doubt the promises that God has spoken over your life. But these tactics are only signs that you are a threat to his plans. If you weren't a threat, he wouldn't bother with you at all. The fact that you are being spiritually attacked means that you are on the right path, and your breakthrough is closer than you realize. This, chosen one, is the enemy's strategy: to keep you in a state of confusion, fear, and doubt, so that you can't fully step into the authority and power God has given you. But God has a plan that is far greater, a divine misdirection that will shield you from the enemy's attacks and ensure that you emerge victorious. God's strategy in this battle is one of spiritual misdirection, a tactic that confounds the enemy and shields you from harm. The enemy wants to see you exposed, vulnerable, and desperate, scrambling to find solutions and answers on your own. But God's plan is different. Rather than letting you be overwhelmed by the enemy's attacks, God has placed you in a spiritual cocoon of isolation, where you are hidden from the enemy's gaze. In the spiritual realm, this isolation acts as a protective shield, causing you to appear harmless and insignificant. To the world, you may seem like you are in a state of stagnation or even failure. But in the spiritual realm, you are being carefully protected and prepared for what is to come. God is using this time of isolation as a divine cloak, rendering you invisible to the enemy's tracking systems. The more the enemy watches, the more he grows confused and frustrated because he cannot detect your true potential. He can only see what is on the surface: the stillness, the waiting, the perceived inactivity. What he does not see is the powerful work that is being done within you. The time of hiddenness is allowing God to refine your character, to strengthen your spirit, and to align you with your divine purpose. You are being prepared for the next season of your life, where you will step into your calling with more power, wisdom, and clarity than ever before. And while the enemy thinks he has you contained, God is actually using this time to equip you for the battle ahead. This divine misdirection is not a new strategy. It has been used throughout the ages to protect God's chosen ones from the forces of darkness. The examples of biblical figures who experienced isolation are numerous, and each of their stories demonstrates how God used these periods of solitude to prepare them for their divine assignments. Moses, for example, was hidden in the wilderness for 40 years before he was called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. During that time, he was isolated from the world, living as a shepherd in the desert. It was a time of obscurity, but also a time of preparation. God was refining Moses' heart, teaching him humility, and preparing him to confront the most powerful empire of the time. When the time came for Moses to emerge from his isolation, he was ready. He had been shaped by God in the wilderness, and he carried with him the divine authority needed to fulfill his mission. The same is true for David. Although he was anointed to be king as a young boy, he did not immediately ascend to the throne. Instead, he spent years hiding in caves, living as a fugitive, and experiencing rejection from those he once trusted. But during that time, God was preparing David for the kingship. He was being tested, shaped, and forged into a leader who would one day rule with wisdom and strength. David's time in isolation was not wasted. It was the very process that made him the king he was destined to be. Even Jesus, the Son of God, experienced a season of isolation in the wilderness before stepping into his ministry. He spent 40 days fasting, praying, and being tempted by the enemy. But it was in that wilderness experience that Jesus was spiritually fortified. He was tested in every way, yet he emerged victorious, having resisted every temptation and fully aligned with his Father's will. His isolation was not a sign of abandonment, but a necessary preparation for the work that lay ahead. Jesus' time in isolation prepared him to confront the forces of darkness head-on and to carry out his divine mission on earth. These examples are not just ancient stories. They are spiritual blueprints for us today. Just as Moses, David, and Jesus were prepared in times of isolation, so too are you, chosen one. God is using this period of hiddenness to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to equip you for the purpose He has set before you. The isolation you are experiencing is not punishment, it is divine preparation. You are being shaped into the person you need to be in order to fulfill your divine calling. This time is not wasted. Every moment spent in solitude, every door that has closed, and every relationship that has ended is part of God's perfect plan for your life. You are being protected from the enemy's tactics and prepared for the victory that lies ahead. So, as you sit in this season of isolation, remember that you are not alone. God is with you, guiding you, refining you, and preparing you for the next step in your journey. The enemy may try to convince you that this time of hiddenness is a sign of failure, but it is actually a sign that God is doing something incredible in your life. Trust in His divine misdirection. Trust that He is protecting you, even when you cannot see it. You are not being abandoned or forgotten. You are being prepared for something greater than you can imagine. And when the time is right, you will emerge from this season of isolation stronger, more focused, and more equipped to fulfill your divine purpose. Your destiny is being protected. And when it is time for you to step forward, no force in the universe will be able to stop you. As you sit in the silence of this season, chosen one, know that you are not idle. This time of isolation, though challenging, is far from wasted. It is a divine workshop where God is crafting you into the person who will rise up and carry out the purpose He has set for you. Every single moment, every seemingly quiet second, is a piece of the puzzle being laid in place. God has orchestrated this time to remove all distractions, all external noise, so that you can fully hear His voice and align with His will. It's in the silence that your true calling is being revealed, not in the noise of the world. The world may continue moving forward at its own pace, but you are being hidden for a reason, protected for a purpose. You are in a sacred space where God is shaping you for something extraordinary. Though the enemy may attempt to convince you that you are being sidelined or forgotten, the truth is that this period of isolation is essential for your transformation. Just as a diamond is formed under immense pressure, so too are you being refined in this time of hiddenness. The isolation you are feeling is the furnace where your faith is being tested, your resolve strengthened, and your character molded into something unshakable. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that nothing is happening while you wait, but God is working within you in ways that are invisible to the natural eye. In this silence, He is teaching you patience, humility, and the ability to stand firm even when everything around you seems uncertain. Each test you face, each challenge you overcome, is another layer of strength being added to your spiritual foundation. And as you endure this process, you are being prepared for the victory that will soon be yours. The enemy may want you to believe that your isolation is a result of failure or rejection, but this couldn't be further from the truth. The fact that the enemy has targeted you in this way is a clear indication that you are on the path to something significant. If you weren't a threat to his kingdom, he wouldn't waste his energy trying to undermine you. The more you carry within you, the greater the opposition you will face. Your calling is not just for you, it is for the world. The breakthrough that is coming in your life will not only impact you, but those around you. You are being prepared for a mighty mission that will bring glory to God and bring light to the darkness. The enemy's attempts to isolate and discourage you are simply a sign that God is getting ready to launch you into the fullness of your purpose. And it's important to recognize that isolation is not a sign of punishment. It's a sign of divine protection. God has hidden you in this season, not because you are unworthy, but because He is protecting you from forces that you cannot yet see. These forces would seek to derail you, to make you lose sight of your purpose, to trap you in confusion and doubt. But in His loving care, God has cloaked you, keeping you shielded from harm. The enemy may be looking for any weakness or opening, but God is protecting you like a shepherd guards his sheep, keeping you from predators that would seek to destroy you. This isolation is God's way of making sure that you emerge stronger, more focused, and ready for the task ahead. The examples of biblical figures show us that isolation is a key element in the process of spiritual growth and divine preparation. Consider the story of Moses. Though he was born with a divine destiny to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, he spent years in the wilderness, away from the comforts of his past life. It was during this time of solitude that God shaped Moses into the leader He needed him to be. Moses did not emerge from the wilderness immediately after his calling. Instead, he spent years in the quiet, refining his faith and learning to trust in God's timing. His time of isolation was not wasted. It was a time of spiritual growth that equipped him for the monumental task that lay ahead. Similarly, King David, though anointed to be king, did not take the throne right away. He spent years as a shepherd, then as a fugitive hiding in caves, learning the qualities of leadership and humility that would later serve him as a king. His isolation was not a rejection, but a preparation for greatness. And consider Jesus, the Son of God Himself. Before He began His public ministry, He spent 40 days in the wilderness, fasting, praying, and being tempted by the enemy. This time of isolation was not only a test of His physical endurance, but also a spiritual preparation for the challenges He would face in His ministry. It was in the wilderness that Jesus strengthened His resolve, aligned His heart with the Father's will, and prepared to face the forces of darkness that would attempt to hinder His divine mission. Jesus' isolation was not a sign of weakness. It was a time of divine fortification that enabled Him to fulfill His purpose on earth. These examples are not just historical events. They are blueprints for our own lives. Like Moses, David, and Jesus, you are being prepared in your time of isolation for something greater than you can imagine. The enemy would love for you to believe that this season of waiting, of hiddenness, is a sign of your inadequacy. He would have you think that you are stuck, unworthy, or abandoned. But this is simply not true. God has placed you in this season of protection and preparation because He is preparing you for a mighty mission. You are not idle. You are being strengthened. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. And when the time is right, God will lift the quarantine and send you out into the world, fully equipped to carry out your divine calling. Just as a soldier trains in seclusion before going into battle, you are being strengthened in this time of isolation to face the spiritual battles that lie ahead. The spiritual misdirection that God has placed over you is a shield that keeps the enemy from knowing the true depth of your potential. As you remain hidden in this season, the enemy cannot target your calling because he cannot see the power that is being built within you. When God reveals you to the world, the enemy will be caught off guard, and he will have no choice but to watch as you fulfill the purpose that God has ordained for your life. So, chosen one, do not be discouraged by your isolation. Know that it is not a punishment. It is a divine protection strategy. You are being hidden for a purpose, being refined for greatness, and being prepared for a powerful future. Trust in God's process. Trust in His timing, and trust that everything happening in your life right now is part of His perfect plan. When the time is right, you will emerge from this season stronger, more focused, and more powerful than ever before. Your calling will be fulfilled, and the world will see the power of God manifested through your life. Stay strong, stay faithful, and remember that this isolation is not the end. It is the beginning of something extraordinary. As we come to the end of this message, chosen one, it is crucial to remember one final, powerful truth. The process you are in right now is not only necessary, but deeply purposeful. The isolation, the perceived rejection, and the times of silence are all part of the divine preparation God is working in your life. Trust the process. Though it may seem hard, confusing, or even painful at times, it is precisely in these moments that God is doing His most transformative work within you. You are not lost or abandoned in this season. You are being hidden for a divine purpose, being prepared for the extraordinary calling that lies ahead. God's timing is perfect, and He is using this time to strengthen your faith, sharpen your spirit, and align you with the great destiny He has planned for you. In the midst of this uncertainty, it is vital to remain still, to embrace the quiet, and to trust that God is with you. The enemy wants you to react in fear, to panic, to rush forward in search of answers. But God is calling you to maintain stillness, to rest in His presence, and to allow His peace to guide you. It is in this stillness that you will hear His voice most clearly. You have been given the sacred opportunity to align yourself with God's divine frequency. Through the techniques shared, you can keep your mind and spirit locked into the powerful, protective theta frequency, where peace reigns, clarity emerges, and divine wisdom flows. By staying grounded in this stillness, you will be able to navigate the world with a calm, unwavering confidence, knowing that you are fully aligned with God's will. Now, chosen one, as you prepare to step forward into the next phase of your mission, I want to seal this divine protection over your life and activate your readiness for what is to come. I invite you to pray with me, to receive the activation that God has already ordained for you. Father God, in the mighty name of Yeshua, we thank you for the protection you have placed over this chosen one. We declare that they are hidden in your pavilion, safe from the enemy's attacks, and shielded by your divine grace. We ask that you continue to refine them, to strengthen them, and to prepare them for the powerful purpose you have called them to. We activate their readiness to walk boldly in the authority you have given them, and we seal their divine protection with your mighty hand. May they emerge from this season stronger, more focused, and fully equipped for the mission ahead. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Chosen one, you are ready. Step forward with boldness, knowing that you are shielded, guided, and empowered for the divine mission that lies ahead. Trust in the process, embrace the stillness, and know that God is with you every step of the way. Your destiny awaits, and nothing can stand in the way of the incredible plans God has for you.